Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you for having me. And if you want to add on to the Shofar Project, a deepening 1 day retreat, virtual meditation retreat, um, I am co-leading with a dear friend of mine, an amazing meditation teacher named Allison Cohen. And it is August 27th, and it is going to be very powerful. 1 day long, virtual, can participate from anywhere. And Max just put it into the chat. So I really hope you can join. And if you have any questions or you need any financial assistance, please reach out to me. I think Max is also going to put my website into the chat as well, so that you can reach out to me if you have any questions or need anything at all. All right, so I want to talk about this enigmatic, powerful, beautiful, confusing line that comes into the Torah today from Moses that you may or may not have heard about, which is this kind of instruction to the Jewish people to circumcise the foreskin, or the barrier, the outer part of our hearts. And that's followed very quickly by this line saying, don't be a stiff-necked people. So circumcise the foreskin of your heart. Don't be a stiff-necked people anymore. And recognize the miracles, the daily and gigantic and small and all-encompassing miracles that God, that the One has done for you and continues to do for you all the time. It's my paraphrase, but I think it's pretty accurate, pretty close to the original. So, a couple questions. Number one, what does it mean to circumcise the foreskin or the barrier around your heart? And two, how do we do that? What's the technology? What's the methodology that we can use to do that? So in terms of number one, almost a sub question of number one, what does it mean, is what actually is the barrier? Like, what is between you and God? You and appreciation and openness and whatever the opposite of neckedness. Rashi, the great biblical commentator, said that Moses is talking about all of the stuff we put between ourselves and the divine, like self-centeredness, like our own sense of like ego, like whatever I need to do, I need that, I need gratification, I need this. And then when we do that, that puts us at a distance from God. The other possibility, this is Abraham Joshua Heschel's whole idea, is that when we have ideas about too many mental conceptions and ideas, when we see things and we're just so quick to dismiss them, like cloudy day, bad weather, checked out, or this person, I don't really like people that look like that, checked out, or like our instantaneous judging of everything we see and come in contact with is actually what's keeping us from that raw experience of wonder and awe. Lots of mental conceptions. Perhaps it's this ego or this kind of like self-centeredness that's keeping us away. And I want you to really look for yourself in this moment. What is keeping you at a distance from that sense of awe, of wonderment, and of complete open-heartedness to the divine? The other thing I wanted to think about is like this idea of a stiff-necked people. What would it mean to be the opposite of that? It's a neck that moves, that's flexible, that looks around, that looks up, that looks down. And what would it take for us to do that? Not like on a magical, wonderful, when all circumstances are wonderful, but right now in the midst of everything. I just came back from a week in Vermont, which is my first vacation of the year. It was so beautiful, so nice, and so easy to feel awe. There's also a lot of, annoyances and problems and things like that. So believe me, I still very easily jump into that. But it was by and large more easily to feel that way. Now I'm back, whole stream of meetings that need to get done, emails that need to get sent. My kid is sick. I take him to the doctor this morning, blah, 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 blah. And like the sense of being flush with life, of being flush with God, or being that open, undefended heart feels far away. And so when I ask myself, okay, what do I need to do to find that openness right here and now? I think it is, in some ways, it's as simple and as difficult, both at the same time, as softening my resistance, as not jumping away like when I get somewhere or do something else, I'll be happy, I'll feel awe, I'll feel closer to God. But it's saying right now, can I just kind of open up my fist in the normal ways I clench against life, the mundane parts of life, the difficult, the painful parts of life? Can I just practice softening, being with what is, opening to what is, including my own senses of resistance, opening even to that? And right there in the heart of it, can I then, is that like in some ways this circumcision process, this sense of opening and coming closer to life? Just this, just this, again and again and again. And that's that softening of the neck, literally, so that we're not such a stiff necked people, and a softening of the shoulders, and a softening around the heart, again and again and again. I think for me, that's it. That's what's going to bring us a little bit closer. In that process, we feel gratitude. We notice things we didn't notice before. We try and just soften all of our conceptions about the world and what we need and what we don't want and what we want. And we can just, for little bits of time, taste life, come close, come face to face with God, with life. And that's awe, that right there is that experience. So let's try it in this meditation together. I want to invite you to, you can either close your eyes or you can keep them softly focused in front of you. I want to invite you to relax your shoulders. If you're lying down, to settle your body. If you're sitting up, to allow your spine to come as best as it can for your body on an upright posture. Softening the body to allow that all those micro resistances we carry around to life and to pain, and just instructing, inviting, giving some spaciousness so that they can soften even a little bit. Relaxing the jaw, softening the jaw. Relaxing your arms. Feeling any part of yourself that's connected to the ground and the earth. You can settle into your breath, or if that is not helpful to you or it's too agitating to you, you can just feel the feeling of your hands against your lap or your feet against the floor. And as you practice, your mind will likely be having lots and lots of thoughts, be racing around into the future, into the past. I want to invite you to see if any place physically, emotionally, mentally where there is resistance, if there's any even tiny way you can soften some of that resistance. If it helps, you can use the words just like this, just here. Dropping into this moment, opening up to the miracle that is life unfolding just as it is. Softening and returning. dropping in and opening up, just here. If your eyes are closed, you can keep them closed, or you can keep sitting as I just read you a piece of a poem. Life will break you. Nobody can protect you from that. And being alone won't either, for solitude will also break you with its yearning. You have to love. You have to feel. It is the reason you are here on earth. You have to risk your heart. You are here to be swallowed up. And when it happens that you are broken or betrayed or left or hurt or death brushes too near, let yourself sit by an apple tree and listen to the apples falling all around you in heaps, wasting their sweetness. Tell yourself that you tasted as many as you could. I'm going to ring the bell, and when I do, you can slowly begin to bring yourself back into our space together. Thank you so much for sitting together. Max has put the poem and the author's name into the chat. It's Louise Erdich from the painting Painted Drum. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much, Yael. Another beautiful, beautiful teaching and set. We seal that practice as we do each time by offering an opportunity for those of you who are in mourning, or if you're observing a yard site today, or if you're accustomed to join in the mourner's Kaddish, to bring your full presence to that and participate. If you're not reciting Kaddish, to please stay present for those who are. Help create a minyan of comfort and support for those who are grieving. If you'd like to put the name or names of those you're honoring today in the chat box now or after you recite Kaddish, you're welcome to do so. And if you are reciting Kaddish, please join me by rising in body or in spirit, and you can unmute at this time. Eat gadal, eat kadash,
Amen.
Amati vrach rutevia mahuke bechaya kavaduvio mechan shnaye tikol bechel bisman karib vimru. Amen.
Yehi Shmei Rabba Barach Olam Olamei Omayah.
Amen.
Yitbarach, Yishabach, Yitzhar, Yitmam, Yitnaseh, Yitzhadar, Yitmed, Yitzaval, Yishra, B'Yitzu. Ha'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, ushbechata v'nefechata, ha'aman v'alma, v'imru.
Amen.
Shlama Rabba min Shemayim. Aleinu ki'al kol Yisrael. Imru. Amen.
Say shalom.
Useh shalom b'mruma. Useh shalom.
Aleinu
V'al kol Yisrael.
Kol
Kol
Yoshvei
Yoshvei Tevel. Imru.
Imru.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Want to thank our teacher for today, Yael Shy, who led us so beautifully. And just a reminder that you can check Yael's website, sign up for her newsletter and offerings, including the retreat. Maybe I'll mention that. We'll put that in the chat again as well, the day-long virtual retreat, which is a great accompaniment to the Shofar project this year. So do check that out. And of course, thanks to Max Bamberger for holding our tech space today with grace and skill. As always, Max is our summer intern this right now at IJS, and it's our final week with him. We're grateful, so grateful to him for spending the summer with us and offering his gifts to us. Coming up the rest of the week, just want to fill you in that tomorrow will be led in practice by Rabbi Susan Leiter, who also, by the way, will be hosting. On Wednesday, as I mentioned, Karen Lizzie Shamash will be our teacher. I'll be back to host. That's it. On Thursday, Dr. David Gottlieb of Spertus Institute in Chicago, a wonderful Jewish mindfulness teacher, will be leading us, and my colleague, Rabbi Miriam Klotz, will be hosting, and I will be back on Friday as well to lead us to sit into Shabbat together, and look forward to that very much. As always, you're invited to stay on for a little conversation with our teacher today, Yael Shy. If you have questions, you can put it in the chat, preface it by writing question. If it's just or you can just share a reflection, or as always, you can just use this time and space and this community as a container to continue sitting. And you can turn the sound off on your computer and just stay here and sit with us if you'd like. So I'll bring Yael in. And Yael, actually, that's such a great, that poem is so great. I actually wanted to ask you if you might read it again.
Sure. No. Yeah. Okay. Life will break you. Nobody can protect you from that. And being alone won't either, for solitude will also break you with its yearning. You have to love. You have to feel. It is the reason you are here on earth. You have to risk your heart. You are here to be swallowed up. And when it happens that you are broken or betrayed or left or hurt or death brushes too near, let yourself sit by an apple tree and listen to the apples falling all around you in heaps, wasting their sweetness. Tell yourself that you tasted as many as you could.
Wow. I'm very immersed in this Alan Lu book. This is real and you're completely unprepared. And literally, like, that could be lifted right from that book. That poem is completely what that book is about. If you folks looking for a sneak preview. So let's go back to, those two metaphors, which are, you brought up, which recur pretty frequently in the Bible and in the Torah. Yeah. This stiff-necked people, Am Kashay Oref, which I think both Moses, it's a charge Moses levels at the people and God levels at the people. We're stiff-necked people. And also this idea of circumcising the heart, which is a really powerful idea. And also maybe challenging for people. Circumcision can be pretty fraught for people. Yeah. But I wanted to go back to that because the idea that you brought both of them about the neck, which is this mediator between the head and the heart, I think just bringing attention to the neck and the flexibility of the neck and opening that channel, right? Which for many of us, if not most of us, of our people, is where we spend a lot of time up here. Yeah. Not as much time down here. Yeah. So I love that. And also to just reclaim that idea of making the heart vulnerable. Yeah. So I just wanted to say, if you wanted to say a little bit more about those two elements in terms of practice. And then I want to actually follow up with a question about making ourselves vulnerable. And just to kind of, again, here's two questions in one, I guess, which has to do with how people might adjust that instruction or how they might bring it into their own practice if, in fact, they might be flooded or overwhelmed by opening their heart. Like maybe actually, a lot of us need help to crack the heart open. For some people, because of trauma, et cetera, that can be dysregulating. So I'm holding that. That's the second question. First question is just the heart and the heart and the neck.
Yeah. I think I love the body metaphor because it's not just a metaphor. Like we actually also hold pain and emotion in the body. And so I kind of love the instruction to soften around the shoulders and the neck, like all of those muscles. And what does that do for us? It kind of, for me, it sort of naturally opens my heart a little bit. So those two do feel somatically very related, just that action of softening to open up. And then this question of circumcising the heart. So elsewhere in the Torah, as you mentioned, it's a common phrase. Elsewhere, we're told circumcise your heart directly. Here, we're saying circumcise the barrier around your heart. So question whether those two things are the same, whether the action is the same. But I think if as a metaphor, the idea being, I think it's I'm really kind of intrigued by what that barrier is, because that barrier could be so many things, including the body's natural wise way of protecting itself after trauma or in the midst of trauma. Sometimes that barrier is essential. And sometimes it's a prison wall and we can't move through it. And then our whole life is dimmed because of this protection that once served us and now is keeping us distant from life. And so how can we hold both of those things at the same time? I think the answer is in that presencing, in dropping in softening the resistance to what is, including resistance to that protection. So I think I probably said it other times, but it's always helpful for me. This line that a teacher once said, which is this woman said to her, like, I can't open up. I'm really trying to open up and I can't. And it's like driving me crazy on a retreat. And the teacher said, like, well, are you open to being closed? Are you open to just having that closed part of yourself? So, and I also learned from the amazing Rabbi Lisa Goldstein, this hand motion you can do when this is your reality, when you're carrying around this fear or this closed part of yourself or a part of yourself that is very protective, that she showed me that you can make a fist with one hand and an open hand on the other. And you can kind of sit in meditation in that posture, this being the part of ourselves that's closed, and this being the part of ourselves that says, I'm not going to leave you. I'm here with you. And you're welcome to stay closed. That's okay. Doesn't have to force anything. And once we do that, at least in my experience, that is that coming close to God right there in that moment. It doesn't have to be gone to come close to God.
Yeah. That is worth the price of admission right there. Basically, it's, loving the obstacles instead of pushing them away, repressing them, rejecting them. Easier said than done, but it's really so, and it's counterintuitive. Sometimes I think about it as like steering into the skid, like when we're in a skid in the car, the impulse is to yank the other way, but we're actually embracing the skid, right, in order to get traction to move the other way. So what do you think about the issue about, I was going to put in the chat, this circumcising of the heart also reminded me of a poem that I shared last week. I'm putting it in the chat again by Dorothy Hunt. I don't know if you know this one, Yael. Such a great one. Yeah. Undress Your Heart, which is exactly on this circumcising the heart. Remove the bulletproof vest that's been covering your heart. Rather than protecting you, it's the cause of pain. Undress your heart, or you could substitute circumcise your heart. You have imprisoned love. No wonder it aches. Its longing is a message. Let love's tiny stirrings become an explosion that shatters separation. Love needs no protector. Its ocean is your body. Its sun melts frozen sorrow. Its sword cuts through delusion. Its tenderness heals wounds. Undress your heart. Let yourself fall open in your longing to what ends longing. Now, I love that. However, going back to the question I was putting to you, that poem makes reference to kind of an explosion that could happen. And so what about folks for whom it can be very overwhelming and dysregulating and actually not so helpful, right? What's an adaptation for finding a balance between opening the heart, circumcising the heart, and protecting the self?
Yeah, I think another kind of way in my experience is just noticing. Almost get out of this like wrestling match you have going on with your insides. And what happens when you lift your eyes, when we, soften the neck and look around and really take in what's here. I feel like we've talked in other sits about like my wary relationship to gratitude practice. But I think this lands us in gratitude a different way by noticing, by just being with what is, like being like, and looking for the places of pleasure, even while there's a lot of pain, which some of us are carrying around, physical or emotional. In every moment, there's also something beautiful or pleasurable in one way or another for some sense, whether it's seeing something pretty, tasting something good, feeling something soft against your skin, like so micro, then lands you back in this open-hearted spot. And you never had to go through, the defenses. It just kind of lands you there. In little, almost like a micro dose at a time. of
So
that.
what's can you be more specific again about that? Like, how might one do that?
Right in this moment, we can all practice it together. Go to some sense that feels good or that looks pretty. Look around you and find something that catches your eye. Feel your body right now and find some place that feels soft or pleasurable. Like for me right now, I'm feeling the cushion, the chair's cushion underneath me, holding my weight. It's really nice and soft. I'm also seeing the trees out of your window, Mark. Beautiful. Really like feels very open to me and like it's a beautiful thing to look at. I'm tasting, I have like little remnants of my coffee that I drank. So good. And I'm just noticing when we move to these places of pleasure and they're all around us and they're with us at every single moment, how does that feel in the body? Where is that separation between you and God when you're in the sensory experience?
That is really fantastic. That is fantastic. Yeah, I am
That's what people are
actually
asking.
enjoying. I am enjoying these streets. I know this is not my usual view, so it's not a stretch for me to have to engage in that practice. You just offered. Thanks. All
Yeah.
right. I think unfortunately I need to end just a little bit early today, but I really, as always, it's such a pleasure to get to experience the sit with you, Yael. I'm so grateful for your generosity in leading us so often this summer, and look forward to the next time as well. And thanks to you and to Max for holding our space, to each of you for being here. Please join us tomorrow for our sit with Rabbi Susan Leiter. And I'll look forward to seeing you all back here myself on Wednesday.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.